Hello everyone, I'm glad you joined me because I'ma speak on it.
People packed a Barbers Hill school board meeting tonight, fired up over the dress code.
Yeah, it's a dress code some say is outdated and racially insensitive, especially when it pertains to one student who wears dreadlocks. Marcelino Benito in Mount Bellevue with both sides tonight.
Guys, Barbers Hill ISD hasn't had a school board meeting in its history with more than 2 speakers. Tonight, 16 people spoke up against a hair policy that many say is racially charged.
I get it. You don't understand locks because ain't none of y'all black.
On Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a district that touts its excellence found itself embroiled in controversy about race, discrimination, and dreadlocks.
This is a black and white issue.
The dress code is designed by white people for white people that is damaging to black bodies.
Activists stood beside DeAndre Arnold and his family as they addressed the Barbers Hill ISD school board. DeAndre has been suspended and won't be able to walk at his graduation in 3 months unless he cuts his dreadlocks.
DeAndre should not have to go through this. This family should not have to go through this, but I expect that from a school board that has zero diversity.
The district says this isn't about dreadlocks or race.
There is no dress code policy that prohibits any cornrow or any other method of the wearing of the hair. Our policy limits the length. It's been that way for 30 years.
A handful of speakers agreed with the district and pleaded with them not to make an exception with the rules, but the majority didn't buy the district's explanation.
We're here about DeAndre, but it's bigger than DeAndre. It's about all the other DeAndres that possibly can come through Barbers Hill.
DeAndre's family is hoping his hair doesn't derail a good student's future, and they vow to fight this until the end.
They have 48 hours to come up with a resolution. If not, we're going to take this to federal court.
DeAndre's family tells us they plan to explore a host of different legal options, but at this point, if nothing changes, DeAndre will not be able to walk at his graduation in less than 3 months. We're in Mont Bellevue tonight. I'm Marcelino Benito, KHOU 11 News.
So I get a dress code. I actually think when I just have to buy my children uniforms and not have to worry about fashion per se. I get the whole uniformity in clothing, but I don't get it with hair. Hair is different, period, even within the same race. So when a school wants to enforce a code that has to do with hair, the standards can't be based off one race's diluted standard on looks. It must be flexible and not infringe on the personal preference, culture, or ethnicity. Furthermore, if the length was really an issue, the boys' hairstyles seem to have grown while in school, or they came with a length to begin with way before the matter took place. So the situation should have been looked at before now. But when even addressing this situation, we must look at these codes that do not reflect the many cultures and identities that attend the schools. One school being public, which when you get down to it, the taxpayers pay for, and all cultures and ethnic backgrounds attend. So a code that is enforced that does not reflect the culture and students at the time is a code that should not be allowed. Codes like this should regularly be looked at and adjusted for cultural and personal differences, like I said before. Hair types, when even in the same race, can be different. So who are they looking at when they set these standards? Since everyone's hair is not the same, you have to adjust to allow everyone their own basic rights as a human being to exist. The other school being private and a parent paying the tuition, well, that school may have more of a right with their code, but that doesn't mean they still have the right to infringe on a person's right to be themselves. Being neat and clean and wearing a uniform is one thing, but when you step on a person's right to be who they are, then you don't have that right at all, no matter if it is a private school. Also, with this situation, the boy came to the private school with a longer length, but it only seemed to have caused an issue when he came with his hair braided. It seems schools think that they can take away a person's identity with these codes. No matter what code you enforce, a person's culture and ethnicity is theirs and should be respected. I'm still trying to understand what these people don't get about hair. They can clearly see that a black person's hair texture is not the same as a white person's hair texture, and therefore have different techniques of being handled. This is common sense, but they overlook the obvious. Instead, to make a child feel bad by enforcing outdated, nonsensical codes that do not encourage and traumatize black students for merely existing. What also doesn't make sense is the suspension. The codes that are 30 years old are right in line with 30-year or older laws placing black men in jail for just any stupid thing. You mean to tell me you are suspending black students for hair? That in itself is outrageous. What could you possibly be teaching the students by way of this action? That being yourself will get you into trouble? Zero tolerance, my ass. Kids should not be subjected to such trauma that only is causing an issue because the school district made it one. When a member of the school district makes a statement saying that the policy has been in place for 30 years
or race.
There is no dress code policy that prohibits any cornrow or any other method of the wearing of the hair. Our policy limits the length. It's been that way for 30 years.
And thinks that makes sense, is out of touch, and does not seem to care about black students. Anybody with common sense who would make that statement should clearly see why the code needs to be updated, because it's 30 years old. I continue to see schools having no empathy or common sense when it comes to black kids, but we are mandated by law to send our kids to school or get arrested. But our kids are being treated like third-class citizens. I am tired of the abuse and the school-to-prison pipeline mentality. So speak on it in the chat and let me know what you think about this situation.